Hey guys, Godfather of Anxiety here again. I thought today would be a really good day to shoot a video about the fact that yes, I still have bad days. And in fact, I had one yesterday. And even though I consider myself recovered from my anxiety disorders, for the most part, I still have bad days. And this video is going to be very short, but it's going to give you guys some insight if you are either in the recovery process or about to go through the recovery process, or even if you're recovered and you feel recovered from some type of anxiety condition. This will give you some insight as to how you can probably prevent having a lot of bad days, and also how to deal with them when you have them. So just to give you guys a little background, so this was, life in general has been fairly stressful lately, but this last week was especially stressful. I started a new job. So, I'm working for the same company, but it's a completely different job and just a lot different. My schedule's different and what I'm doing is different. So there's one big change, right? I also have a family member who's going through a really terrible health issue right now. So I've got that going on. Also, because the schedule's different on this, my sleep was affected pretty dramatically. So, you combine those factors and the fact that I had to drive quite a distance yesterday, to get a test done on my shoulder that I hurt over the winter, because I want to make sure that I don't need any type of surgical intervention. I know that I tore my rotator cuff. I don't know what other damage I may have done. It's not fully recovered. So I had to drive an hour to get a test done, to have an MRI done. And, you add up the sleep, the stress from, life in general, a sick family member, a new job. And sure enough, guys, I had a panic attack yesterday. It wasn't I know how to deal with panic attacks now. So because I don't fight them and I let them happen, and I also try to control my breathing through them, they don't last very long. This one was probably about 30 seconds to a minute. Very unpleasant though. And especially since I was driving when I had it. So I had to slow right down. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I had to slow down. I didn't pull off, but I slowed way down, controlled my breathing, and I was able to basically ride this one out. Now, for those of you who experience panic attacks, you know that I did not feel normal for the rest of the day, right? Even though it was only 30 seconds or a minute, that was before, by the way, that was driving to have the MRI done. And then I'm in that little machine. It was kind of funny though, because in relation to the stress of having a panic attack while I was driving, the MRI machine didn't seem like much, And again, that's how exposure therapy works, guys. That's why it's so important to do it, because if you can push yourself and drive a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, it might stress you out some when you do it, but then go ahead and pay attention to what it's like driving the regular trips that you drive every day. It'll be easier. That's how exposure therapy works with these anxiety conditions. But anyway, so I got down there. I had the test. I drove back. The drive back wasn't too bad. Again, especially considering I just had a mild panic attack, which, by the way, a mild panic attack is the one that happens to someone else, because there's no such thing. It's like a mild heart attack. They don't happen to you. There's nothing mild about panic attacks. But so then I drove back, but I knew, and this is what's really important, guys. I want you to know this is how you have to deal with bad days. First of all, you have to label it as a bad day. You can't start down that road of, oh my gosh, here we go again. I'm having a relapse, or here come the panic attacks again, because that's not what's happening. What's happening, look at it analytically. Look at it intelligently and intellectually. I set myself up for this panic attack. not all of the decisions were mine, but some of them were external stress that I had no control over. But it's really not a surprise that I had one. A lot of change this week, along with some really stressful stuff going on in life, and a lack of sleep. I probably averaged 5 hours of sleep a night this week. And every time I do that, my anxiety gets way worse, and my ability to deal with anxiety gets way worse. So, I set myself up for it in that sense. But anyways, how to deal with it. So when I got back, okay, I knew I had a panic attack. I told my wife, you said, I did have and she knows. So my wife, we communicate very well. She knows that means that I'm probably not going to be a lot of use for at least for a few hours, if not for the rest of the day. So I decompressed. I didn't put any pressure on myself for the rest of the day. It was a day off from work. I decompressed. I kept everything very light. I listened to some music, and I think I took a short nap. And then this is the big thing. And at least for me, and I can't speak for all you guys, but for me, the big thing is I knew I needed to get a really good night's rest. Because that is what happens. First of all, after you have a panic attack, it's like those crime shows with the interrogation when the criminal gets caught and he falls asleep on the table because his nervous system's just shot. Well, that's what it's like on a day when you have a panic attack. And that's how I felt when I got home. So I took a short nap. I didn't want to go to sleep yet because the most important part of recovering for me, from having a panic attack is getting a good night's rest. And guys, I slept for almost 9 hours. I feel better today. Another thing, what did I do? Did I let it linger into today? No, I got up, I went to the gym. In fact, I just got back from the gym. I get right back into the routine. Don't let it, remember, you label it as a bad day, guys. Label it as a bad day. Don't catastrophize it into, oh, it's a relapse, or I'm going to have this is going to be the end of my life. I can't deal with this again. Let each thing be its thing. That's how we get in this situation in the first place, by thinking 1 million steps ahead about every worst case scenario that can happen. So when I take a step back and I look at the circumstances of what happened, the lack of sleep, the new job, a family relative with a very serious health issue, this is not unexpected. And what I need to do to be there for my family and to be able to do well in my life is I need to get some rest, get my exercise. I've done both. Both boxes are checked. And, get back into my routines, get doing things. And that's what I'll do the rest of the day. I have some yard work to do. And, I'm going to do this. And that's just going to be a little blip on the radar. And this is how you do it, guys. So if you have either a panic attack or let's say you have so panic attacks are very acute, but maybe you just have a day where you can't concentrate, or you have racing thoughts, right? Or you start to perseverate on, if you haven't gotten sleep, if your external stress is up, guys, it's happening for a reason. So before your body and your mind get fully into fight or flight, change and alter whatever it is you can alter so that you're getting your rest, you're getting your exercise, your diet's on point. And also, if there is something you can do to limit or change that external stress, do it. Because this is why you have to do this. And you have to be proactive in addressing anxiety. Because how much good are you to anyone, yourself or any of your loved ones, once you fully relapse? Once you're having panic attacks every day, you're having the physical symptoms from anxiety. If you guys are like me, you're no good to anybody. So if you can compartmentalize it as a bad day, which I believe I have successfully done, and I have a lot of experience, guys, 22 years of doing this. So I know how to deal with it. And I'm just trying to give you guys some advice so that you don't turn a molehill into, Mount Everest. So make sure you get right back on the horse. Give yourself some time to decompress. Now, guys, if it's a full-blown panic attack, or, you might need a couple of days to recover. But then once you've gotten sleep, once you've gotten some exercise, resume your routines. Don't let it fester into inactivity, because then it gives your mind more time to work. Idle time is truly the devil's work when it comes to people's minds with anxiety conditions. It's the worst possible thing we can do. Idle time, no, we don't want that. We want to stay busy. We want to get things accomplished, right? So anyways, that's all. I just wanted to give you guys some insight. First of all, to let you know that even though I'm recovered, I still have bad days. I still have some panic attacks. And also, some tools that you guys can use to get right back on the horse and not let it turn into a relapse or really affect your life. Because, guys, time is the most precious commodity we have. And you don't want to waste it being stuck in a prison that is your own mind's creation, right? So thank you guys so much. Thanks for the comments. I love them. Keep them coming. I love the community that we've started to build here with the channel. Also, like, share, subscribe. If you guys know anybody who's going through any of these mental health conditions, have them take a look at the channel. So thanks so much, guys. And until my next video, take care.